Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link.
You can navigate the legal and emotional journey of divorce and exit a marriage the way you entered it, with mindfulness, love, and respect. Solace Divorce Mediation is a full-service law practice helping couples focus on the health and well-being of children and their forever co-parenting family. Our streamlined divorce journey offers flat fees with an estimated completion time frame of 2 to 4 months. If you or a friend need us, visit solacedivorce.com.
Before you get it, baby, show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Oh, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. You walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Good morning. Welcome to today's installment. If you think this is bad, you should have seen me 55 years ago when I was 6 years old. I swear, I'm not kidding you, all 22 of my mothers, all 22 of them, at least a handful of them deserve some kind of a medal because I was a handful. Still am in a lot of ways, but it's just the way it is. I'm so happy to be here. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. It is Tuesday. What's the date? The 21st day of November. It is officially. We're too deep 2 days deep inside of Thanksgiving week. Yes, I have stuff. I have a system because I do all the cooking. Even though we don't host at this house, I do all the cooking. So I do everything ahead of time here in Chicago, and except for the turkey. And then we go to Michigan where we all meet at my in-laws' house, and I finish everything off there. So yeah, so I have all these different areas around the house with different recipes and all the things I need because I need to see it. I need to see all the ingredients on this table, that table, over here, on that, right. Each separate recipe that I'm going to create. This year, I wonder if any of them are watching. Of course they're not. I'm talking about my family members. I'm sneaking 2 vegan recipes in this year. An arugula salad with polenta and pomegranate and peach. It's going to be delicious with a great homemade dressing. And I'm doing a pumpkin pear soup. I kept our Halloween pumpkin and cut it open and all that. So I'm doing it all from scratch. So, and I got busted the other day. I went and bought 2 store-bought pies, an apple and a pumpkin. Tried to sneak them in. I got caught. I was going to take them out of the aluminum pan and put them in my glass ones and kind of, you know what I was going to do. And got busted. Who are you giving those pies to? That was the question. Well, clearly no one here. So anyway, yeah, I got 2 pies if you want them. Just let me know. I'll get them shipped out. So anyway, today, listen, if you know anyone, or perhaps it's you, if you have a child who is, I would say seriously, 6th grade, in the 6th grade, I didn't sleep very well, by the way. That's why my eyes are all red. Brian, my husband, had some kind of a 24-hour bug. We didn't know what it was. So he slept alone last night, and I slept on the couch because I just did, and I did not sleep well at all. So there's that. So anyway, if you have a child or someone in your family, friends, neighbors, in my case, I have a neighbor who has a son, Kyle, who is a junior in high school. The topic today is all about scholarships, college. How do you pay for it? Did you all know that this is currently at the top of, at the end of Q3 of this year, 2023, these were the current numbers. It was put out by a very reputable source, I'll tell you here in a minute, that Americans own $1.77 trillion, $1.77 trillion in federal and private loan debt, student loan debt. And this is as of, like I said, Q2 of 2023, which is up 1.25% since just a year ago. And of that 1.77 trillion, 128.77, 77's in both of those numbers, billion of that is private debt. So a lot of kids, the kid next door, Kyle, he has a 4 point something GPA, really high. And he says, I said, so what are you going to do with that? He goes, I'm going to go to Stanford or UCLA for a pre-med. I was like, great. Then the next day I saw his parents, right? We're all, weekend, everybody's raking. I said, yeah, saw Kyle. He said, he told me about his school plan. Oh, is it back? Hold on. Am I back? Okay, there. I can see my guests moving, so I must be live again. Thank you, Comcast, for nothing. So listen, I'm going to get my guest in here today. Denise Thompson is here, and I refer to her as the student loan, the student, not student loan, how to stay away from student loan guru, the scholarship empress, if you will. And she's an authority because she's proven it with her own kids. So we're going to get her in here. She's not been here before. Oh, yeah. I just saw your message, Denise. In and out. Yeah, we're used to it. That's Chicago internet. So anyway, she is going to help us out today with what she does, which is how to let me just show you this real quick. And then we'll get her in here. I'm just going to share the screen for a moment. Facebook. There we go. Take a look. So as you can see, here is Denise's Facebook page. Look at all the things. She's all about it, y'all. She's all about it. We're going to get in with her and find out how she can perhaps help you, your kids, the kids you love, and everybody else who wants a college education without going broke or selling a kidney. Here she comes, you guys. Denise Thompson. Thomas, like Danny Thomas. Denise Thomas. Put some hearts on the screen. It's our way of saying welcome. We're glad you're here. Welcome, Denise Thomas from Get Ahead of the Class. How you doing today?
I am doing fabulous. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Where are you at in the world?
I am in Florida, about 3 hours north of Disney World. And as you can tell, we like Disney around here.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Every time somebody wants to go to the Magic Kingdom down there, they ask to stay at your house, don't they? Yeah. Can we kind of hang out? Yeah. I lived in Vegas once, and that was the worst part of living there. Every time someone wanted to visit, they didn't want to pay for the hotel. They wanted to just stay at your house. So anyway, well, we're glad you're here. Listen, let's jump right in on it. This issue that keeps a lot of parents up as far as how they're going to pay for college for the kids. Tell us how you got started. How did you get to this point of being such an authority on how to get people's kids through college? And where some of them are actually getting paid coming out of college with money in their bank account. How is that even possible? Go ahead, Denise. Let's get started.
Well, thanks for asking that, Lauren. So I was like every other parent, pretty much didn't put money aside for college. You know, we'd think about it now and then, but never did anything about it. And then when my daughter was about 12 years old, my husband lost his corporate job. He was laid off. Not too shabby. 3 months later, he gets another job. Okay, we're good. You know, I could breathe at least at the moment. But at that point in time, we weren't paying attention to our industry, and he got laid off yet again.
Uh-oh.
Then the stock market crashed. Everything we thought we had built up, we were really this close to retiring. We had everything built up, and then we lost it all like that. But I pay the bills. If there's money in the bank, I'm paying the bills. That's just what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw that money disappear. And I'll be honest with you, years later in talking with my husband, I realized he thought we would be using that money to pay for college.
Now how many kids do you have?
2.
You have 2,
kids.
and your daughter's the oldest.
Yeah. My daughter's the oldest. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So
ahead.
it was about that time when the money starts running out, and I realized, hon, we have no choice. We have to declare bankruptcy. We had just enough money to hire a bankruptcy attorney. They are not free. And buy a lawnmower and a trailer and start mowing lawns to put food on the table.
Oh.
The bankruptcy was liquidation. If you could touch it, it was sold. And that means everything.
Oh,
Books,
I remember
toys.
this part.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Christmas
God, it's right.
decorations. You know, we had been married probably, 15 plus years at that point. And
Yeah.
you accumulate stuff, right? This was gone. I mean, like they wiped it all out.
Talk about that day you were cooking.
Oh, geez. If we have garage sales. We go to garage sales. It's fun. But this was an estate sale. And this is what most people do. Yeah, most people do this when, somebody's dying or dead. And you have to have, quote, an estate sale. But this was a bankruptcy liquidation sale. It's a whole different feeling between having a garage sale and having strangers come into your home and make an offer on the pot I'm cooking my dinner in. I had to ladle my food out of the pot into a container, wash and sell my $200 Magnolite pot that I had gotten from my wedding,
Not the Magnolite pot.
and sell it for $5. That was the hardest part, is that everything was literally pennies on the dollar. These were garage sale prices. But the truth is, Lauren, the hardest part was not that. I mean, yeah, things are things. Eventually you'll get it back. You'll be able to buy more. But because our house was also going into foreclosure, we were going to have to move into a small apartment. That meant our 2 dogs had to go. Now, if you're dog people or cat people, these are not pets to you. These are your furry children.
Yeah.
And I will never forget my children running into the house crying as our 2 dogs were being driven away by their new owner.
Oh,
That was heartbreaking
kill me
to
now.
me. It still is. It still is.
Right.
So about 3 months after that, we are in this small apartment, and it suddenly hits me. My daughter is starting high school. College is literally around the corner. How are we going to pay for this? We had no savings anymore, no 401k to borrow against or take from, no house to borrow equity from. And that bankruptcy means we can't co-sign for those student loans everybody loves to talk about.
Which is probably a good thing.
They forget to mention, in all that student loan statistics, your kids can only get this much by themselves. The rest of it, that's parents and grandparents most of the time. When you co-sign, that is your loan.
Yeah. Oh.
That is yours, 100%, just as it is your kids. So the bankruptcy took loans off the table. Now what are we going to do? Is it even possible? We had been telling our kids from the get-go, when you go to college. It was never if you go to college.
Right.
This was a given. This
Right.
is your trajectory, your path. So I started doing the research, and it was literally out of desperation that I did this research, because I was on the computer till 2:00 in the morning most nights. I remember my husband getting, literally getting a little upset that I wasn't sitting on the couch next to him watching television. I was at the computer at the kitchen table. At some point in time, I picked up the laptop and went and sat on the couch next to him and continued doing my research. He thanks me now for that.
I was going to say, at the time, he was like, can you get off that damn thing and get in here and do something
Exactly.
like watching TV with me?
Yes, you are so right. But seriously, I saved him almost $200,000.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a crud load of work. When I added it up, it was way more than 7,000 hours of research over the course of those years between my daughter and my son. But I found something really intriguing in that research. And one of the things is that 70% of college students graduate with some amount of student loan debt. $5,000 all the way up to however many zeros you feel like adding to it. But I can do the math, Lauren. If 70% are graduating with debt, that means 30% are graduating debt-free. And this is every year. This is not, dependent on the economy or anything like that. No COVID, whatever. It matters not. It's 30-70 every single year. So I went to look at what that 30% were doing.
Yeah.
Sure, there's some amount that parents have scrimped and saved, and maybe even hawking their house or their retirement accounts to pay for college. There's a extraordinarily small number that are student athletes who get some money. That's a myth, by the way, that student athletes get paid. That was 3 decades ago, not anymore.
Okay.
There's some amount, and it's like 1%, that are getting a full ride scholarship because of their grades, their GPA and test scores. There's a small amount that are on the opposite end of finances, and they're destitute, and maybe they're getting a full scholarship. It's more of a grant than a scholarship because it's need-based.
Mm-hmm.
What about the rest of them?
Yeah.
What's the normal people doing? You know, the ones that we call ourselves, quote, in the middle, that we don't qualify for need-based aid. There's a Facebook group that I'm in that is exactly for that purpose, talking about how are we doing this, you know? But in the research, there were some commonalities in these kids. And I didn't know what was working and what didn't. So I literally put together anything that sounded logical. If it was logical that that whatever this thing is might affect or influence college acceptance or winning scholarships, by golly, my kids were going to do it. In the end, my daughter was a high school junior in her spring of junior year.
Okay.
She applied to her first scholarship. This was a national scholarship worth $10,000, and she won. At the same time, she applied to her first university. There are some colleges that don't have a strict, we open the application on October 1st of your senior year. They have check boxes. You can apply and say, just tell us when you want to come. There's 3 check boxes, 3 semesters coming up. Just tell us which one you're applying for. We realized, you know, in 6 months, nothing is going to change. Her GPA is going to be the same. The activity she's doing is going to be the same. And she sure as heck was not taking the ACT again. She was done with that.
Right.
So we figured you might as well go ahead and apply. Check the box. You'll be there in a year and a half. Well, 3 days later, we get a phone call from this university. Now, here's another tip. Put the parent phone number on those applications, not the child's. What are the odds of getting a phone call? Who knows? But they did call us 3 days later. Now, here's a man asking for my 16-year-old daughter when I answered the phone. So I replied, "This is her mother. How may I help you?"
Yeah.
You know,
Creep.
it's like, who is this guy?
Right.
And he says his name and the university he's calling from. And then he says, "We received your daughter's application, but did not receive the application fee." Now, let me pause for a second here. That's part of following directions, to which my daughter did not.
Uh-huh.
And then he says, "And we'd like to offer her tuition, fees, room, board, and books, but we need the fee to process the scholarship." Lauren, now my daughter's on
First of all,
speakerphone.
after you picked yourself up off the floor, then what happened?
Well, I literally did this with my daughter because we're on speakerphone. I don't want her jumping up and down for joy just yet.
Yeah.
Come on, colleges don't call you and offer a scholarship. This is not done. And I'm not 100% sure this is on the up and up.
Right.
You know, first of all, my daughter's a junior, you know, so I wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page. So my next question was, "You do know she's a junior?" He said, "Yes, ma'am. We'll wait for her."
Oh, well.
Now, at this point in time, now I am like, holy crud, what did we do right? Because at this point, I still wasn't sure what we did right on this
How
application.
did this happen? Right.
Exactly. Now, going forward, she applied to a total of 8 colleges and universities across 3 states, public and private. We heard similar things at almost every school that she applied to. So it wasn't just this school that was interested, that could see her on this campus making a difference, and they wanted that. A few months later, she finally made her decision as to which of these 8 schools she was actually going to say yes to.
Wow.
And by the way, she did turn down that full ride scholarship because she had 8 additional scholarships that supplemented any other school's offer.
Wow.
One of the schools she turned down called to ask, "What can we do to get you to come here?" And they proceeded to offer whatever they possibly could to up the ante. But she had already made her decision and she was comfortable with it. So fast forward 5 years. Now my son is coming into high school.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing the same thing, making his applications, applying for scholarships. So,
Now is he? I'm sorry. Is he a second
Mhm.
semester junior as well?
we
When this,
really did. We didn't even start at that point with him. We waited because a lot of the scholarships, see, 5 years later, things change. And that's what parents need to know. From
okay.
one kid to the next, even 2 years.
Mm,
Heck, after COVID, things change, right?
yeah.
So scholarships that my daughter had applied to, most of them were not even available for my son to apply to the following 5 years later.
Okay.
Okay, so things do change. So he did apply to a bunch of scholarships too. She won a total of 9 scholarships that she applied to her college. He won a total of 8 scholarships that he was able to apply to his. And interestingly enough, now here's the thing: when your kid is winning scholarships, you'll start to notice that both colleges and many scholarship applications will ask this question. Tell me what scholarships you have won. And they want the dollar amount. I hated that question.
I was gonna say, does that work against you or for you?
Well, here's the thing. I thought for sure, they want to spread the wealth around. They're not going to want my kids to win another scholarship. I hated that question. I mean, I deliberated with my integrity as to whether or not to write those scholarships down. But integrity won, and I wrote them all down, and they would win again. Here's why. Think about this. When we were on the playground playing Red Rover, we picked strong, fast kids for our team. I was picked last, just by the way. So it's
No comment.
ingrained in us as humans to
Yeah.
pick winners.
Yes.
We want winners. I had a girlfriend of mine who makes stupid amounts of money, like literally on a weekend. It's ridiculous. And she asked me one day, she said, Denise, I make 100 grand on a weekend. Why do I need scholarships for my kids? Glad you asked that question. This is why. Because colleges and employers want winners. You don't have to have scholarships as your wins, but it's a hell of a lot easier than some others. Truly, scholarships are a lot easier than people think they are. There's 1.8 million scholarships out there every year, giving away $23 billion.
Right.
The money is there. You just have to know where to find it and how to win it. So,
Yeah. Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was like, okay, so get ready for your jaws to drop down. So when your daughter finished college, what was her debt status? And
She
then same
came
question for
away.
your son.
She came away with $4,000 cash that she applied to her wedding, by the way.
So she had leftover money.
She was paid to go to college. Matter of fact, at her graduation, which was so freaking cool, they gave her an additional $2,000 at graduation. So even just coming out of school, she gets yet another scholarship. It was incredible.
Wow. Okay.
And my son,
Yes.
he graduated with $10,000 left over. Now, as a mom, I'm thinking, oh, this is perfect. I'll fly the daughter up to see him at his new job location, his new apartment. She can help him outfit his apartment and, not live like a broke college student the rest of his life, because I have a brother that lives like that. So this is my thought. This was my plan for him. But luckily, he did not immediately go blow that cash, because God had other plans.
Uh-huh.
Within 3 months of being on the new job and the new apartment, his car broke down, needed a new transmission. So a lot of you guys out there know that that's real money. I think it cost him a little over $4,000 to do that. His computer broke. That was a $1,000 deductible. His refrigerator, his entire apartment lost electricity for an entire week. He had to replace all the food in his fridge and freezer. That was $500. And here's the kicker. He wrecked a rental car. That was $1,000 deductible.
And this is all in the same loop.
All in the same 3 or 4 months.
Wow.
And the car transmission was not the end of his troubles. Seemed like every 2 weeks there was something else he needed to pay money for his car. As a matter of fact, my husband, a few months later, probably about 6 months into all this debacle, we're driving, just taking a ride, and he says, "Hey, do you happen to have our son's, access to his account? Are you on it? Can you see how he's doing? I'm really concerned that he's struggling and not asking us for money." And I said, "Yeah, I do. Let me check." So I looked, I laughed. I said, "I think he's got more money in his bank account than we do." I mean, he was doing fine.
Wow. So then you're out of the woods. And of course, you can't help but share the great news with people. How did the work that you do today, i.e., this one, get ahead of the class.com, how tell us how this all came about, and tell us, because I've seen, I'm going to pull up the website too, so people can see there's all kinds of testimonials from parents over there, and guardians and people who have benefited from what you know to be true. So tell us how you began the work for others to help them.
Well,
why?
I'll be honest, this was not my plan. Okay. I mean, I had no intention of bringing this to the masses. But when my son was in college, we dropped him off, and then we went, I kid you not, full-time RVing for 5 years. We took off and enjoyed the heck out of ourselves. So, when you're not paying for your kids' college, you get to have fun with your own money. That's just a little tidbit. So it was really interesting. While we were on the road, I was constantly getting text messages, emails, and phone calls asking, "Okay, here's where we are, Denise." Or I'm a friend of so-and-so, and she said I needed to talk to you. Here's where we are. What do we do next? And I found myself literally copying and pasting. I don't know if this works. I don't know, because I had never really looked at it to see what was it we were doing. We just flip and did it because out of necessity, here's what we did. And it was working for other people. And so it wasn't just my kids. Because I want your people to know this. Most people believe, "Oh, well, you were destitute, you were bankrupt, you had no money. Your kids got this because it was need-based scholarships." Within 3 months of that lawn care company, we were making 6 figures. So no, that was not it. Then they'll say, "Oh, well, your kids were geniuses. That's why they won scholarships." Because that's another myth that we believe. Only geniuses win scholarships.
Right.
But half, literally $100,000 worth of those scholarships, didn't ask for GPA or test scores. Anyone can win.
Wow.
You just have to understand what's happening.
So do you so for giggles here, do you know the dollar amount that each of your children was awarded in scholarship money? How much for your daughter? How much for your son?
My daughter won a little bit more. She was about 10 to 14 or so, maybe grand, a little more than him. But they each won really close to $100,000 because it was $199 and change that they won in total. And I'll be honest, look, when we hit the submit button, it's out of mind. I did not add up how much they were winning. I didn't know until my son's high school graduation, when both of my kids got up and spoke at his graduation. They had added it up. And when they announced it, the entire room was like gasping, but I was the one on the floor going, "Holy crap."
Wow.
I had no idea, because seriously, when you hit that submit button, it is out of mind. No one, unlike a college application, you are not getting a rejection notice. They've got too many. You're only going to be notified if you win. Period.
If you win. Now,
Absolutely.
Okay. There is the website, you guys, and already in your thread, in the comment section, if you look at the top of the thread, from the beginning of the show today, you're going to find Denise's contact information. So it's all there, and it's going to be moving along the screen as we move through this hour. So Denise, let's talk about what was it like? Do all scholarships, is there a submission fee for most scholarships? And what is the average cost? Because it's hard. Some people, they have multiple kids. They got a junior, they've got a sophomore, they've got a couple middle schoolers, and maybe one in the high chair. Dinner to put on the table, gas to put in the car, shoes to put on feet. Where is all this fee money going to come from, and what's the average, and how do you handle that?
I'm glad you asked. First of all, in my course, I teach parents some of the myths, and I also teach them how to avoid scholarship scams because they're out there. So here's the thing.
What?
I don't believe in paying to submit a scholarship. If they need $7 for an application fee for a scholarship, how can they afford to give you the scholarship? I think that's bullcrap. That's me. I don't pay to be offered a scholarship. I think that's stupid. I'd also don't pay to be part of a database. There are databases of scholarships that want you to pay for access. There's enough out there that's free that you don't have to worry about that. Now, college applications do cost money. It can be $50,
Sure.
$75 or more. So don't go thinking my kid's going to apply to, 20, 30, 50 colleges. That said, if you are a low-income family, if your kid is on the school lunch program, let's say,
Yeah.
there are fee waivers for college admissions. So you may not have to pay those fees. So I wanted to throw that out there as well.
Okay. So Denise, what about, how do parents know? And I know you take a lot of the guesswork out of this for people. So let's talk about this pivot right here. How did you know, or how do you know how to match people? Like, what do you look at? What do you need from your clients to cross-reference and make the best possible matches for their student and this potential scholarship money?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. First of all, I do not provide a list of scholarships. I think that is the most ridiculous thing that I've heard. There are people out there who consider themselves scholarship consultants, and they will charge you $1,500 or more for one list of like 20 scholarships.
Wow.
Oh, Lord in heaven. First of all, a random list of scholarships will do you no good. What we are doing in my course, Get Ahead of the Class, Cracking the Code to Free College, is helping you find these scholarships that match your child specifically, that they have the best chance of winning. Applying to random scholarships, okay, if you've got, time on your hands, go ahead. But here's the thing. Scholarships for college begin in kindergarten. I kid you not.
Oh, yeah. I remember you were telling me that.
There's only one or two, but still, it starts that early. Everybody's leaving money on the table. But when it comes to being a senior, by the time your kid leaves junior year, they're considered a senior. Scholarships for senior, there's 1.7 million scholarships just for seniors alone. If your kid is a senior and that scholarship essay, they're having difficulty, they just can't eat, they're looking at a blank page, it's writer's block. They have no idea what to write. For crying out loud, toss that one in the trash. Move on. There's plenty of others out there. It should not take more than an hour per scholarship, and then hit that submit button. Done. Once you understand A, what they're looking for, and B, how to win, it's not that hard. Your kids should win at least 10 to 20% of the scholarships they apply to. So doing it right, it's still a numbers game. It is still a numbers game because there's just that many out there. Another thing that I want to note, there are scholarships that are actually random drawings, sweepstakes. Are they winning money? Yes, they are literally giving away $1,000 a month. It's for real. Wow. But it's a random drawing. And who's applying to these?
Mhm.
Kids that can't write essays or don't want to write, lazy kids. It's easy to just put your name in a hat. But now you're up against 200,000 or more kids applying. Your odds of winning are slim to none. And the odds of them selling your email, pretty darn high. You may never get off those
Yeah.
lists. Don't do it. It's, if you have nothing better to do with your time, yeah, but I don't advise that.
You don't recommend that. What about,
No.
let's talk about this essay. Let's talk about these
Yes.
essays for a moment.
Please.
How
please.
many different essays did your kids have to write? I mean, is
Okay.
it a one essay fits all kind of thing, or
Close? Close.
talk about that.
It depends on. Okay, so here's the thing. Two things about the essays. There's about, I'm going to go with at most 20 topics that you'll see over and over again in general. So once you've written that topic for one essay, you've written it for all of the scholarships that ask for that topic. For example, a common topic is going to have to do with your community service activities, whether it's how you are, what you thought, what you learned, or what you were able to assist others with, whatever. But it's your essay about community service. There are other essays about your hopes and dreams for the future, your college major, that type of thing. Another essay that's rather common is, tell me about someone who inspires you. Now here, wrong. Because the kid is thinking, okay, well, I can write about grandma or I can write about Jesus. And yes, both valid topics, 100%. But that's not what they want to hear.
Okay.
Wants to write. That's what he thinks he heard. But the question is, tell me about someone who inspires you. You is the operative word here. So in the typical, let's say, 5-paragraph essay, the beginning will talk about grandma. The entire essay is about you, and then you end with grandma again. They want to know about you. They really don't want to know about grandma. It's
right.
How does she inspire you?
Yeah. What is it that grandma awakens in you? Do you know what? So they're looking for what the student understands or not about the term inspiration.
Yeah.
And what's
And they want to know
that?
about you inside here. Who are you?
Okay. So let's say, okay, so you're a second, now your son, you guys started, or was it? Yeah, your son, second semester junior. And really, like, let's keep using Kyle next door. He's going to move into, you might as well say now, because here we are in the holidays. So after the holidays, he's a second semester junior, which is really a senior almost. So let's say this. What's the timeline like? How do you do this? Do you set up, let's submit this many per quarter, this many per month? Because when do they start letting people know you've been awarded? How early?
So scholarships are generally, there's an open time frame on their calendar, and they're open at least 2 or 3 months before it closes. So if you're searching today for all of the scholarships known to mankind that your kid will apply all the way through senior year and you're a junior, you're not going to even see them all, because many of those, if it's not open, they might not even have the website open for that scholarship. People like me, I get new scholarships. People will come to me and say, hey, we have this new scholarship for $1,000 or $3,000. Would you let your people know about it? And the reason those companies do that is because they don't want 10,000 applications. They've got a secretary.
Yeah.
And, they're not hiring out for this. So they rely on consultants like myself to try to hone in on good candidates and that kind of thing. But you can be applying at any point in time. Let's start with that, because there are hundreds of scholarships for current high school students, freshmen through junior year. By the time your child ends junior year, literally walks out of senior year that summer, you're a senior. That summer, you're a senior. And so there are openings for scholarships starting then. Apply every single freaking week. I mean, like I said, there's millions available. So you have to dedicate time to do this. Maybe it's every Sunday, after Sunday lunch or something with family, you're going to spend 2 or 3 hours applying for scholarships. But that's kind of the timeline where as far as applying. But here's the thing. Let's say he's a junior. You got Kyle right now. One of the things that I would make sure that Kyle did already is take the PSAT exam last month in October. If we're already here in November and I find out he has not taken it for some reason, maybe his school didn't offer it because not every school does. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they were advised, oh, it's not a big deal, don't bother. There are opportunities to fix that, to remedy that situation. The College Board website has alternatives if you happen to have missed it. The reason that's important is because the PSAT is a scholarship opportunity. It's for the National Merit Scholarship.
Yeah.
And if your kid wins that, again, that's an accolade you put on the college applications and on other scholarship applications. It's another win that gets you, possibly more scholarships. Yeah, noted. Right. It's really awesome. I'll tell you about that. You're not done when your kid starts college. Scholarships, yes, they start in kindergarten, but they go all the way through professional school. So current college students, if you're listening, there are still scholarships out there for you to apply to. So my son was a college freshman in his spring of his freshman year. He was in the Air Force ROTC. Okay. He was called into his commander's office. He actually called me that morning and said, Mom, pray for me. I have no idea why I'm being called into the office. I've never even met the guy. So he's freaking out. He gets to the commander's office. He's standing at attention. The commander is looking down at a piece of paper on his desk, and he says, without looking up, Son, why are you here? My son didn't know how to answer that question. He's stumbling. You called me into the office. I had,
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. And he repeated himself. Why are you here? And then he looks up and he tells my son, and then my son realizes what he's seeing. What the commander had on his desk was my son's resume that he had submitted with his college application 18 months prior. So for whatever reason, the commanding officer asked for it and received it and now was reading it and called my son into the office. So he looks up from that resume and says, why are you here? We don't get your caliber of student here, meaning in the ROTC. You can write your own ticket. Why are you here? And the truth is, my son bleeds red, white, and blue. He's about as patriotic as they come. That's why he was there. He always thought about the military. But then the commander offered him, I kid you not, a full ROTC scholarship, which is another full ride scholarship worth more than $100,000, would have covered everything again for my kid.
Wow.
So instead of 10 grand coming out of college, he would have come out with more than 100 grand had he accepted that. But for medical reasons, he was not able to accept.
Wow.
But it was just, here's the thing. People want winners. You've got to understand that. It is so important. Employers want winners. That's why it's so important to get a college internship while you're in college, because they want to feel like someone else has invested time and money into you.
Right. Getting you ready for us.
Yes, exactly.
Makes perfect sense. So let me ask this question again, using my neighbors. They have 3 boys. So there's Kyle, who's a junior. There's Graham, who I think is in 9th grade. And then there's little Jack, who's in middle school. So when a family comes and works with you, if they say, okay, we have our oldest, but we also have these other 2, are they able to use some of the intel provided for the current child to get started with the subsequent children?
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked that question. Ideally, in an ideal world, families start with me in middle school. Now, our society has built in this concept of waiting until junior year or senior year, quote, for anything college related. So I do get a lot of juniors and seniors that come, but ideally, families that hear about me early are going to be in the best possible position. And here's why. Because what we are doing, when I evaluated this application package, this thing we had built for my daughter, why did this work? Here's what came about. I asked my daughter, I said, before I put this thing online, what do you feel is the difference between what we did and what everything else out there is? And it did not take her half a second. She said, it's the difference between Disney World and Six Flags. They both have the same components: rides, food, entertainment. But Disney does two things differently: marketing and storytelling. That's the difference. We are marketing your teen to the colleges, telling the story of who your child is. It literally brings the person reading that story into your life, into who you are as a human being. Because colleges are not just looking for a high GPA and test score. Yes, they need that. But what they're looking for is, how do you fit into the campus community? What difference are you going to make here?
Yeah.
And what kind of an alumni will you be going forward? They're looking for that human being that is going to be the next Elon Musk, the next president of the United States. Someone they can say, so-and-so, Kyle Jr. went here. And they will pay for that. It's very important.
Yes, it is. We had about 4 minutes left, and I wanted to make sure I get this one in. So what would your most poignant piece of advice be for parents? That thing, I mean, that you see most parents slipping up. Is it we have good intentions, but then we don't pull the trigger? What's the thing that if the people would only put it in place, they might, create a net to capture what they need long before they need it? I mean, the peace of mind that I would think that would come if your kid starts getting scholarships awarded in middle school would be like, okay, we got something going here. What would that be? What would your piece of advice be? Your sage advice, Denise Thomas?
I am glad you asked that. Well, I'm going to go with a little more than one. First, please don't believe the things you think you believe about the high school to college process. We've all been ingrained in some things, but most of that is 3 decades old information. Okay. So what you think to be true is probably not. Parents are waiting too long. One of the most important things that starting in middle school helps with is building your child's confidence, but finding the thing that your child loves to do. What is that thing, that activity that is so important to them that they would not be the same child if that activity didn't exist? That's really important to find. And middle school is where that starts.
Passion.
Kind of focus.
Yeah. What about this one? I'm glad this popped in. I meant to ask it earlier, but it slipped me. But here it is. How important do letters of recommendation help?
They do, and some it can. Okay.
And if so, what types?
Yeah, here's the thing. Letters of recommendation are usually from teachers or employers. Depending on the school, not all schools require it. And many schools that do require it limit how many, and they'll tell you what they want. They'll tell you who they want it to be from. Perhaps they want someone from the career choice that you are interested in. So if you're going into a STEM field, it needs to be math or science teacher, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Letters of recommendation and interviews are helpful if they're on the fence with you. Okay, if they're riding the do we want this kid or not? You know, it's like we only have so many seats. See, families don't realize when colleges are getting hundreds or thousands of applications.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of people, alumni usually, or current grad students that may be reading these applications. They're going to decide which ones go in the absolutely no pile, which ones go in the, oh, please, yes pile, and then there's the maybe pile. But they've really got to get that split up, because then they're coming together with their yes pile to a meeting with all of the other people who have been reading applications, and they've got their own yes pile of applications.
yeah.
They've got to defend yours for everybody to say, that sounds cool.
Yes. I want to
Okay.
say this before we get out of here. Listen, you guys, I've had some extensive conversation with this lady, and boy, she has done the work. She has transformed the work. Listen, thousands of hours of research and staying on top of it, almost like going to school for your continued education credits, staying on top of what's current. And that's important. So here is a legitimate resource to get started finding those monies that you need to give the kids you love, that you care about, the greatest opportunity. I'm going to just tell you this as we get out of here. You know, I was one of those kids for a different reason, coming out of foster care. I graduated with honors, but at that time, there was nobody to fill out a FAFSA for me because the state was my guardian and I couldn't go to college. There is a myriad of reasons why kids are not being able to follow their dreams today. Money should never get in the way. So here's a way to remove that fear, that stumble, that obstacle, if you will. It's just a speed bump. And Denise Thomas is willing to help you get over it if you need that help. And we all do. So Denise, again, there it is. Denise Thomas, Debt Free College. Also, get ahead of the class.com. And last but not, and we also have put her LinkedIn inside. And don't forget, get ahead of the class.com. You'll find it all there. Correct, Denise?
You've got it.
Absolutely wonderful. I love the work you're doing. We need to have you come back every year. You know,
I'd be happy to.
Absolutely. Listen, have the best Thanksgiving ever.
And to you.
And just thank you so much for all you're doing to help these families. It's really important work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Listen, you guys, this was the final show for the week because, of course, we're all going to converge with our families or whatever it is we're doing for the holiday coming up on Thursday. So God bless you. Get out today. Find that little piece that takes you closer to your highest self. And come Monday, God willing, if I can wake up from all the turkey over the weekend and Thursday, I'll meet you right over there on the front porch for another installment of Bathrobe Moments. Get out and be the very best you can be. I love you. I tell you that every day, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Thank you so much. Great job, Denise. Thank you again. Bye-bye, all. Happy Thanksgiving.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind.